Hello, this is Mrs. Scarple, and in this video I'm going to go over solving multi-step inequalities in one variable and graphing their solutions. With this first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to simplify this right-hand side a little bit before I distribute. I'll even see if I need to distribute. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. And that leaves me with 100 is less than 4 times 4 plus 7n. Now, I could certainly distribute and then move things around, but something I notice is that I could divide each side by 4, make my number smaller in the process. Now, because I'm dividing by a positive value, my inequality is going to stay the way it was originally. So 100 divided by 4 is 25. 4 divided by 4 cancels, leaving us with 4 plus 7n. And since there's only one term with a variable, I'm going to leave that alone and undo the 4 that is being added to it. So that's going to be subtract 4. Now we have 25 is greater than, not 25, excuse me, 21 is greater than 7n. 7 is being multiplied with n, so to undo it, the inverse operation would be to divide. Again, we're dividing by a positive value, so we do not need to worry about reversing the inequality. Now be careful when you read this. We know we're going to need an open circle at 3 because it's not equal to, but this is saying that n is less than 3. Because n is less than 3, you want your arrow to go to the left of 3. So an open circle on the 3, arrow to the left. Let's take a look at another one. In this particular problem, I have a difference on one side. I have a quotient on the other side. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 first to get rid of the quotient. Now when I multiply by 2 on the left side, I need to distribute. So that's going to give me negative 6 minus 4x less than or equal to x plus 4. I'm going to get all my x values on the left side, so I'm going to subtract this x and subtract it on the other side. Now you could certainly add the 4x, but there's something I want to point out if you would subtract this x to the left side. So now we have negative 6 minus 4x is less than or equal to 4. And I forgot my x, there we go. Negative 6 minus 4x. Now to undo the minus 6, we add 6 to both sides. We now have negative 4x less than or equal to 10. Just making sure I have all my numbers correct. Oops, negative 4x minus x. I did not have all my numbers correct. If you were paying attention, you were probably wondering why I wrote a minus 4x rather than a minus 5x. So let's take care of this minus 4, make it a minus 5. And now divide both sides by a negative 5. Now this is our first division I've shown you that involves a negative. When that happens, you have to reverse the inequality. So now we have x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So now we're going to have a solid circle on negative 2 because it's equal to, and we're going to go to the right. So when you have to divide or multiply by a negative value, that inequality has to reverse. I have two more we're going to look at. I have 7 plus 2r is less than 5 plus 2r. So again, I'm going to start by getting my variable on one side. And to do that, I would subtract 2r. But what happens is that the negative 2r cancels on both sides. So we're left with 7 is less than 5. That is not true. So this one has no solution. When you have no solution, you also have no graph. There's nothing more to do with this problem. When I look at the problem to the right, I can simplify each side. So negative 5n plus 4n is negative 1n, greater than negative 4 plus 4, well, that's going to cancel out, and we have 5n minus 6n is negative 1n. Now, I could add 1n to both sides, and what I end up with is 0 is greater than 0. And that is also not true. If we change this to greater than or equal to, this will be all real numbers. So what would that look like on the number line? On the number line, that would be the entire number line. So you would just have to make sure that you show an arrow going in both directions. And that is how we solve linear inequalities in one variable.